Speaking out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight here on Fightful. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. And shout out as always to Big Dick MLJ for the intro. It is Thursday, August 21st. Lots to talk about in the world of pro wrestling. Always a lot to talk about in the world of pro wrestling because pro wrestling never stops. Jensen, you got the Vikings jersey on. It's the last week of preseason. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I've been rocking a lot of my Vikings regalia recently, getting ready for the season to start. I've got a whole bunch of jerseys and t-shirts and jersey shirts and hoodies and beanies, and I'm ready. So I'm all in, as y'all know. We've invested a whole lot into JJ McCarthy and expecting a lot of him very quickly. I know it's going to be a process. It's not all going to be, he's not going to be perfect right away. No one's expecting him to, but we got a great team around him. And we made a big trade yesterday, which I think is like the trade before the trade or possibly multiple trades. We traded one of our captains on defense, Harrison Phillips, who is a really well-liked guy. We traded him for some draft picks yesterday. And what it looks like we're doing is, I know I always bring him up, dude, but they're having conversations with Carolina about bringing back Adam Thielen. I am positive about it. So
I've heard a lot of that chatter. So yes.
But I've been saying it for pretty much since he left. I'm at some point, they're gonna it makes sense for him to come back if they need a number 3 receiver, and that's actually what's happened now because Jefferson should be good to go, but he is dealing with a hamstring, and they're saying he's good to go week 1. They're just being cautious, but even with that, Jordan Addison's out the first 3 games with the suspension. Jalen Naylor is dealing with a hand injury. So we actually do need other wide receivers, and specifically a veteran wide receiver that understands the system, which would be exactly Adam Thielen. But there's other people too, like Tyreek Hill's getting thrown out there because he wants out of Miami. There's a whole bunch of options potentially, but I think that's why the Vikings made the trade yesterday, was to just have a whole bunch of draft picks ready. And we have a ton of cash. We're super under the salary cap for the season or whatever. So we apparently can make huge moves right now if we need to. And the main reason we can do it is because we're paying JJ McCarthy nothing right now as a rookie, basically. So we're trying to build a big team around him and make a run this season. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. And I think that your Panthers are going to be better than what people think, to be honest. I know I kind of said that since I've known you as well. I'm they're a little better than people think. But if Bryce Young actually, he looked good the second half of after he got benched and came back, he looked good. And now y'all have stud young wide receivers who hopefully pan out for y'all, can give them some help. And they got a good running back now, right? A rookie running back, I think.
No, not a rookie. Chuba Hubbard was there last year.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he had a 1,000-yard season or close to it. It might have been a 1,000-yard season, but he had a good year last year.
I forgot that was yeah, he did. So there's a lot to look forward to. The defense might be a part of, a bit of an issue, and that's any team though. If you don't have good defense, you're pretty screwed in the NFL. But yeah, I know people aren't here to hear our NFL talk, but yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of Vikings purple on this show, behind the camera where y'all can't see, and I can't turn everything around because it'll disconnect my entire connection, how this is set up. One of my walls is or actually multiple walls, or 3 of the walls behind me are just how you see the Cody Rhodes stuff behind me. We got Viking stuff on the other side where my TV and everything is. So yeah, I am pumped. But how you been, man? Anything else going on outside of kind of football starting and
just busy wrestling as usual.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
A lot of wrestling to talk about.
Yeah, always a lot of wrestling, but football is starting up. I think the Panthers will be, this is the first year I'm slightly optimistic, not like a playoff team or anything, but also not the worst team in the league. So I think we're somewhere in there. I like the receivers. TMT was looking good in the limited preseason. We'll see how Xavier Leggett kind of works. If Adam Thielen does get traded, we'll see what he brings back. Like, our offense looks pretty good. Our defense doesn't look very good at all, and that's going to be the issue.
Yeah. Well, I think that Thielen is, like, if he stays in Carolina, like, he's going to be a good asset to you guys again this season. Like, he's quietly, like, it's very under the radar usually, but he racks up really good numbers, especially in the red zone. Like, he gets open, especially when it's one-on-one coverage. And that's why I'm hoping so much also he comes back to Minnesota, because Justin Jefferson gets double teamed so often on, like, the defense is constantly worried about him. Thielen and Addison are going to be open a lot, I think, this season. And Hawkinson. Although I will say, this is a bit controversial for Vikings fans, I would entertain the trade of TJ Hawkinson. If we could find someone that would take him, I would actually be up for trading him if we could get, like, some more things. That we have a good backup in Josh Oliver that I think is going to break out this season. And Hawkinson costs us a ton of money, but I like Hawkinson. Like, if he stays, I like the guy, and he plays at a really high level when he's not injured. Like, he deals with a lot of injuries and stuff. I think he was the highest paid tight end in the league when we gave him his contract. Some other guys make more now, but anyway, point being, I think the Vikings are in a good position, and I hope the Panthers. For your sake, I actually hope the Panthers do pretty well. I'm in a fantasy league where we start two quarterbacks, and it's super competitive, and, like, because I pick ninth, I'm probably gonna sandbag my quarterbacks and, like, really heavily rely on, like, I'm going to try to get guys, like, really high level running backs specifically, and some wide receivers. And I'm going to basically, I'm planning on taking JJ McCarthy and potentially even Bryce Young as my other guy. Like, if it gets down to it, like, I'm actually, like, on his bandwagon. I think he's going to be really good. People are sleeping on him. So anyway, that's my fantasy advice. Yeah.
I hope you're right. We shall see. All right, let's get into some. If you're here, by the way, leave a thumbs up on the video. That helps us out. Leave a super chat. Get your question, comment, statement read on the air. Subscribe to the channel. All that good stuff. Leave us a good review on iTunes, Spotify, however you're listening to the podcast. Let's get into some pro wrestling talk, Jensen.
Yes.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
The story might not finish for one Chris Jericho. It is possible that one Chris Jericho returns to WWE. So the big controversy, if you want to call it that, going around is that Jericho liked an Instagram post that mentioned a potential WWE return in 2026. His AEW contract is up at the end of the year. And that became a thing of, like, oh, what does this mean? Will Jericho return? Again, his contract is not up until the end of the year. According to Fightful Select, there hasn't been any creative talk regarding Jericho, which makes sense. His contract is not up until the end of the year, and they're probably not making creative plans for somebody who is a current AEW contracted talent where they don't know if he's going to return. Jensen, what do you think? If you had to put odds on a Chris Jericho return, you think he's coming back?
What do I think the odds are that Chris Jericho returns to the WWE in 2026?
Yeah.
100%. I think he's
100%.
Yeah, he's going.
Wow.
I there's no reason for him not to. There's literally no reason for him not to. Unless, like, Tony wants to give him, like, part ownership in AEW, like a big chunk of it.
I can think of a couple reasons
that Jericho wouldn't want to go back to the WWE.
Yeah.
You go ahead and name your reasons why you want to go back.
The top one is, I don't know if WWE is going to treat him like I think he wants to be treated. Look at what they've done with some of these last run kind of things. Goldberg was not thrilled with it. Cena's run has been hit and miss. And, like, as a Cena fan, I have not been thrilled with the heel turn and how everything went down there. Him and Triple H, their relationship has always been a little contentious with things. So I don't have a whole lot of trust that Triple H is going to be like, yeah, Chris Jericho at 50 years old, let's go out there and do some magic together. Let's put you in the main event scene. Let me let you do what you want to do. He'll get that in AEW. Like, say what you will about his AEW stuff. He gets to do what he wants to do in AEW. That's the biggest reason, honestly.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that that's going to outweigh what the benefits for him would be for him to go back to the WWE. Because I don't think he's going to be back for another 10 years. Probably who knows how long the run would actually be. And he's also the kind of guy who takes time off to, do Fozzy and he's came and left. Even when he wasn't leaving and going to other companies in the earlier 2000s, he was just taking sabbaticals. He would just, he left the WWE for 3 or 4 years at a time or whatever in chunks. And then he'd just come back revigorated, ready to go. There's just a lot of signs to me that point to he is going. He's in great shape based on the posts he's putting out. And obviously that could just be for an AEW return. But I also think that sometimes when you see some of these guys and girls getting really good shape, and then all of a sudden they're free and they're in the WWE and they're looking their best. You know what I mean? The WWE is very cosmetic, obviously, their production and stuff. So is AEW, but Jericho's going to want to make. Jericho might be approaching this and I think you should approach a WWE return like the WWE audience hasn't seen you since the last time you were there. Obviously that isn't the case, but I think that's how you should approach it, because so much of that audience is young or newer fans or only watches the WWE that this is going to be their first impression of him in a long time. Some of those fans, of course. So there's that thing. And that's actually a smaller thing. The bigger thing, maybe the biggest, is that why would he, I don't know what's left for him to do in AEW. AEW started, a lot of it was he was the centerpiece, and when they got their deal with Turner and everything, a lot of that probably did have to do with the fact that they had Chris Jericho, because at the time the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and even Cody Rhodes, those guys weren't they weren't the star. They were, the Bullet Club thing was big. I'm not gonna discredit how popular that Ring of Honor, New Japan, kind of indie scene was at the time before AEW was formed. But Chris Jericho was a bigger star probably than all of them collectively in the actual grand scheme of the wrestling landscape. Having Chris Jericho was a humongous deal for them, and that's the main reason why they put the championship on him. And he was the first AEW champion. But similar to Cody, the fan base has turned on him pretty hard, and they don't really want him, it seems based on the reactions he gets and what people say about him online constantly. So that's one reason to be okay, well, why do I want to keep? And he's also stuck in between a rock and a hard place constantly creatively, because you don't want to put him in the in the AEW world title scene for a lot of reasons. And he's too big of a star to just job out, but he's been used to try to elevate all this other talent around him through Learning Tree and Inner Circle and Appreciation Club and all this different stuff. And none of it is actually elevated anybody in the long run. Nobody associated with any of these groups have had great AEW careers. I mean, there's some people who've done okay, Sammy Guevara did okay for a while. Daniel Garcia, they keep trying to do something with. There's been some, but for the most part, and I think Big Bill still has all the potential in the world. I love Brian Keith. There's other people that can still have good runs, but it's just, there's just really no spot. I just feel there's no spot that makes sense for Jericho that's going to make the fans happy. That's going to even be creatively fulfilling for him at this point. How many times is he going to go for the Ring of Honor championship? Or they're going to have to the FT, I know they don't have the FTW title anymore, but create some sort of Jericho championship, because he's got to be involved in something, because he's too big of a star. And that's another thing on my list, the list of Jensen. They have he's not on TV at all. And I know he was doing Fozzy and stuff, but he's too big of a star and too big of a name for them to just ice him out, since I think he hasn't been on since April. If they're planning to do, I mean, obviously this can change. I could be wrong. He might be back at Forbidden Door for all I know, but I don't think that they would have him this not involved for this long, given he still has the star power. There's just too many signs to me that point at that from Jericho's side and AEW's side. And then on the WWE side, I know that he hasn't had the greatest relationship with all the people that you just mentioned, but there's also people above them now, guys like The Rock and Nick Khan and the other people in the TKO group that are looking at it also as, we can sell a ton of Raw as Jericho return shirts. We can put them on the vault all over the place. We can do this and that. And even if it's for a short time thing, they will figure out a way to make money with Chris Jericho. So, yeah.
But
like, what does he do? Like, what best case scenario? Like, what does he do creatively on the show if he stays in AEW?
Anything he wants.
But like, I don't think he like. What do you think he would want at this point?
I don't know. That's for Chris Jericho to answer.
Sure.
Because maybe he doesn't want to go to WWE and just, oh, you're just gonna put me back as the guy who does the list. That's all I'm gonna be. Oh, I'm gonna be, the Millennium Chris Jericho again. Like, I don't know what he thinks he's gonna do in WWE to satisfy things, because Vince only saw him at the when he didn't return, of like, hey, we just want you to keep doing the list stuff, and he wanted to do something else, and that's why he went to Japan, and that's what led to kind of the formation with him joining AEW. At least with AEW, whatever he wants to do will probably get through. I understand your point of, okay, what else is there to do? He can do a Hangman feud. I know people aren't going to like that, but you get Hangman and Jericho. That was the first world title match. Hangman is the world champion now. You can do that feud. After that, maybe he sees people that he wants to work with that he hasn't gotten to work with. Maybe he wants to do something with Kenny because they never got to do the Golden Jets due to Kenny's illness. So I think there are options for him. And I think there's more options just in terms of he will be allowed to do that. Where in WWE, yeah, there's people he can feud with. Obviously, you can do a Cody feud. You can do a Punk feud. You can do Orton again. Okay.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So WWE, you can do Punk, you can do Cody, you can do Orton, you can do Drew. There's people for him to feud with in WWE, obviously. But will it be what he wants to do? Will he be creatively satisfied with that? And that's, again, I don't know. That's why this is a Chris Jericho decision to me. I don't think this is WWE wants him, AEW wants him. Jericho's going to have most likely the option of, I want to stay with AEW or I want to go to WWE. I don't think WWE is going to turn him down. I don't think AEW is going to turn him down. Tony always speaks highly of Jericho. I don't think when his contract is up, if Jericho's like, hey, I want to stay here, Tony's gonna be like, well, you know what? Actually, no, don't go. We don't want you here. So go to WWE. We don't actually want to keep you around. I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think that AEW would want to keep him. And I don't think he even has anything against AEW. I think this is it's similar. We were just talking about Adam Thielen. It's similar to Adam Thielen with the Vikings at the end of his run. It's like, you were here for a long time. You did great stuff. Everyone loves you. There's literally but it's like, it was just time. Like, and the thing is, like, Jericho knows what the other side of this is. He goes to the WWE, that the pop he would get to return, and he would have enough. Like, I'm not really concerned about the gimmick thing either, because we also have to keep in mind we have the same kind of questions that I think were even more valid for Cody's return, where people were like, is he going to be Stardust? Is he going to be dashing? Like, are they going to have his old music and even use Kingdom? Like, he's in the AEW video game. He's on the pegs. He's got action figures, AEW action figures on the shelves right now. There's no way they're going to have the American Nightmare actually, be the gimmick in the WWE. And that's exactly what happened. I think Jericho will probably have a lot to say. I don't think he's going to have, quote unquote, creative control, but I don't think anybody really does outside of like The Rock. So I think, and I also don't think Jericho would sign the dotted line unless he had some sort of some sort of assurance that like he wasn't walking into a situation where he was just going to be the list guy. Like, I'm pretty sure that he would have the conversation beforehand of like what the plan was before he actually signed on. So, and if it all go, and listen, if he doesn't like what WWE has to say, then yeah, I think he would stay with AEW because he can just. But I also think that what I think it was Pile Driver Finisher somewhere in the chat a little earlier. Thank you to everyone who's chatting, by the way. I'm reading all your chats live, so give me your thoughts on all this stuff and your feedback. We appreciate it. Pile Driver Finisher earlier mentioned this. I think this is valid too. There's nothing more for him to do than doing Dustin Rhodes' way of having matches. Yeah, it's kind of how it feels. Like he just, but I do listen. I like the idea of them doing Jericho versus Hangman. I'm a Jericho-holic. I'm still a huge Jericho fan. Even when he gets booed constantly, I'm like, I've always liked Jericho and I respect him and I consider him to literally be one of the best professional wrestlers of all time. Like with his longevity, him doing it in all these different companies, having great matches, different gimmicks and stuff. Like I have nothing but respect for Chris Jericho. And I do think it's going to come down to his decision, but I think that it just makes way too much sense right here. Right. And the other thing of this too is like, if he leaves, watch Edge or one, actually you would love it. Edge or someone like that will wind up becoming like the next Cody, the next Jericho. Like the AEW fan base, the sickos will pick a new person like them to just constantly shit on. Like it'll get shifted to someone else.
They'd be correct in the case of Cope.
Well, see, and I know you like that idea, and that it will be especially bad. And that's why I've been saying, as somebody who actually, was a big Edge fan, they try to really milk his theme song with like the fans singing. That's going to backfire so incredibly bad if the fans like turn on him when they're not supposed to, especially with this storyline that's happening right now that makes like no sense with all these guys. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that when we talk about Forbidden Door. But yeah, I mean, I said 100% because I'm just really confident. Oh, one more thing. I know that he liked the Instagram post or whatever. That's what everyone's kind of been like talking about. Well, I will also keep in mind as a longtime Jericho fan, I remember during one of his WWE sabbaticals, I remember he had posted something, and this was before social media. Do you remember he teased something about going to TNA? Like it wasn't just like dirt sheets stuff. Like he posted something about it.
He also did the video. He did the music video.
Enemy for one of the shows. Yes, yeah. But there was actually something. I'm sure people could find it or people know what I'm talking about. Like it was maybe on his website because he was one of those guys that was really forward thinking. Like Matt Hardy and those guys, Hurricane. They had websites back in the day. I'm almost positive it was like the Jericho silhouette, like doing his pose or something like that with like the TNA background. And it was like, so my point with that is it wouldn't be, it would be very much within his nature, like to troll the fans.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I have that in mind too.
Yeah. He's been off television since April. There hasn't been much clamoring for a Chris Jericho return. I thought if he was going to return, it'd be All In, because I didn't think he was going to miss that show. Big stadium show, US. I was like, yeah, Jericho probably be back for that one. And then he wasn't back. I think the next kind of destination point is Toronto. If he misses that Toronto show, I think that's going to say, okay, maybe he's not coming back. Because it feels like that would be a time to get him back in the mix. Going into Toronto, Cope and Christian are reunited for that event as well. They could possibly have Swerve and Ospreay on the sidelines with their injuries going into that event. Who knows how Kenny is holding up? Who knows how Kota Ibushi is holding up? They weren't even on the show last night, and they're supposed to be in this cage match this weekend. So they could be down some kind of pretty big stars going into that Toronto show. And a Chris Jericho who has not appeared for 5 months could be a little bit of a boost for that show. So if he appears, obviously, I think that's a good sign going into the end of the year. If he doesn't appear, then the odds are he ain't coming back.
I would agree. And there was something I was going to mention Will McLean in the chat mentioned like All In and All Out. All In was an indicator for him about Jericho. All Out would seal it for him. I mean, yeah, if he just keeps not showing up, because also, you know, Tony Khan's been pretty notorious for like freezing people out, like when you know, and it's mutual sometimes, I'm sure too. Like I know we've heard those stories about certain talents that just like were supposedly even just like refusing the booking plans and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into all that, but also I think you're right about the Toronto thing, because that's one place you get a guaranteed return pop for Jericho, because it's Canada. Like he'll get cheered there for returning, even if he does something to like turn heel immediately or whatever, right when he comes back or whatever. Like I think that fan base will actually appreciate the return. I can't say the rest for everywhere else they go after that. But I just see a lot of the issues. He's kind of dealing with a lot of the stuff that I felt like Cody was having to deal with the, and I'm not saying like they can't deal with it. Like he can get paid a whole bunch of money, and he's like, for all I care, he doesn't care if he's getting booed or cheered. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's still wrestling. Like, good for him. But it just feels like you can go somewhere where you know you're going to be, like, he'll be massively appreciated in the WWE when he returns. Like, they might eventually turn on him, but like it'll be a night and day difference as far as like how people treat him is from the fan base perspective. I feel like that's got to count for something. And you also know the WWE is going to pay him. Like, it's not like he's going to go over there and not get paid. So yeah. And also we have to keep in mind too, like, who is Nick Khan a fan of? Like, I'm not saying it's Jericho. I'm just saying like they're like we're dealing with like, you know, people with a ton of money who are making big time decisions for the WWE now. And Nick Khan was a guy who there's pictures of him being like an usher at like WWE events when he was a teenager and stuff. Like, this guy probably a Jericho fan, if I had to guess. So
yeah, maybe. I have no idea who Nick Khan is a fan of. But even if Nick Khan is a fan of him, like, okay, money's not going to be the issue. Triple H is doing the booking. Oh, Nick Khan, I don't think is going to step in and be like, hey, book Chris Jericho better, and that's going to be a thing. Triple H is the one still calling that shot.
Kind of. Well, yeah. Because like The Rock kind of would call the shot over Triple H. If The Rock,
yeah, but The Rock is The Rock, and he's on the board. Jericho ain't that level.
No, but I'm saying, like, if The Rock wanted Jericho back, I think that would supersede like Triple H's creative ideas.
Sure, if they want him back, fine.
It's all hypothetical. Like,
I know, but I'm saying, but you're talking about just bringing them back. I'm talking about the actual creative for them. The Rock isn't going to sit there and be like, write this creative for Chris Jericho. Yes, I think Triple H is fine with saying, if Chris Jericho wants to come back, Triple H would be like, yeah, sure, let's bring him back. That's not going to have any influence on how he's booked with things. And again, I don't think Nick Khan is going to be like, hey, make sure Chris Jericho is doing this. The Rock certainly isn't going to be doing that.
I see what you're saying. I was misunderstanding. I was thinking more from like them hiring him perspective. Yeah, you're right. When it comes down to the actual creative of the show, like, it'll, you know, at least I know they have like not the best history, but at least, you know, Triple H and at least they respect. You gotta imagine they at least respect one another, at the very least. How long they've known each other, how many times they wrestled, how long they've been in the business, and how successful they've been. I know. I just, if I had to, I'm gonna say Chris Jericho's going back to WWE. Like, I have not changed. My mind has not been changed. But as an AEW fan, like, I like Jericho, and I don't want him gone. And I liked when he was on the show, and I like supporting the guy. So, like, if he stays in AEW, that's great for me as a fan. I just think it's lame that the rest of the fan base is he's just gonna be in this purgatory of like getting booed for everything he does.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's 50-50 right now, because I'm not putting him past Chris Jericho to just, you kind of alluded to it, like him just liking this tweet knowing it was going to get people talking.
Sure.
And he's getting people talking. And now he's like, see, look how much interest there is in me. And then you go from there. I'm not putting that past Jericho at all. No. We'll see. None of this is going to be solved until December when his contract expires. And I think it'll be a pretty big point if he's not on the Toronto show. I think that'll look like, oh, okay, yeah, he might be gone with that. Obviously, if he's on the Toronto show, I think that shows that he's at least willing to work on the way out. more than him just not appearing on television. Because I don't think even if he is on the Toronto show, that means he's 100% staying. I think that means for right now, he's still under contract, and so they're going to use him for these final 3 months.
We can't forget that Cody was wrestling without a contract, like his last few matches. Like that latter match he did with Sammy was like on like a show-to-show basis or something, if I remember correctly. I remember like he even said something about Sean back then. I remember about like the reports from Sean are right. Like I'm not even signed here. It's like, damn. And I thought I was getting worked that whole time. I thought there was no way Cody was going back to the WWE. But when he went, I mean, we were doing this show. You know how I felt about all of it at the time. So anyways, yeah, if like I said, if Jericho stays in AEW, I'll be a fan. If Jericho goes to WWE, I'll be a fan. If he wants to hit the indie scene, I would love that. If he came and did center stage for like 1FW or something, that'd be awesome. So yeah, I'll continue to support the dude till the wheels fall off.
Other WWE spotlight, speaking of kind of WWE AEW crossover, WrestlePalooza is official. September 20th, John Cena will headline against a man he has not faced in a decade. So it's obviously Rey Mysterio, which would be a great match. Cody Rhodes is going to be on the card. Drew McIntyre is going to be on the card, probably against each other. Seth Rollins and CM Punk have been announced for the card, and Becky Lynch has also been announced. So they are pulling out the big guns to face AEW All Out, and it is the first WWE pay-per-view, or PLE, on the new ESPN platform. So that deal is starting much earlier than anticipated. It was supposed to start in 2026, but now moving forward, Clash in Paris will be the last PLE on Peacock, and after that, all the PLEs will be on ESPN. What are your thoughts on them going full bore with this counter programming and putting on a John Cena match against Brock Lesnar? Cody Rhodes, Drew, Punk, Seth, Becky on this card.
Yeah. I mean, has AEW made any kind of announcement about like, are they going to change their time to like, are they going to go earlier or something so they're not going exactly against it? Do you know? Like, are they like, is it going to force? Oh, did I don't know if it's me or you. Hello.
Sorry, I froze. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Well, yeah, we're good. I asked if AEW has made any kind of announcement about if like they're going to change their time for All Out so that it isn't going head to head with that show, if they're going to go earlier or something.
I wouldn't suspect it. I mean, it's a month away. They've already sold tickets. I don't think they're gonna a month in advance be like, hey, never mind. By the way, now the show is at 2 p.m. Eastern just so we can avoid this WWE pay-per-view. Like, I don't think that looks good for AEW. And right now, like, WWE looks bad, not AEW. Because everyone's looking at WWE and like, really? You're doing all of this because AEW is running this show? No one's looking at AEW and be like, hey, you need to move time slots. Like, now they're looking more down at WWE right now.
Yeah, I was just curious if they had done that because I agree that it would be a bad look for them to do. Like, I would understand it, but it would like. I like that Tony. I've been a bit out of the loop, but I think I saw something. It was probably. I mean, he probably was quoted about this often, but he's been big on like, you know, we're doing our own thing. I'm paying attention to AEW. Like, we're doing good business. We got good stories. Like, and he's focused on that. And I think that's the right approach to have. Like, if WWE wants to, like, there's really no other way of saying it. They're basically trying to bully AEW. Like, they've done this before with the like the NXT specials, but never like an actual main roster WWE PLE. So, you know, and then for them to do Brock and Cena is even more of like a bully move, in my opinion, because even a lot of the fans don't want, I mean, a lot of fans do want Brock back, but a lot of them don't. And what you're really accomplishing by having that match, even if the match is totally ass, like if they go out there and it's Suplex City, then 5 F5 or you know, F5s and FUs or whatever, like they might go out there and do a whole lot of nothing. But what the WWE is really trying to accomplish is like all the social media stuff, like that kind of like dwarfing out AEW, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think they're even as like, they obviously want a lot of the fans to watch their show, but I think they're even more concerned about like just WWE having buzz the whole weekend instead of AEW, if that makes sense.
As I've said in the past, I think it works against them in that they're just creating more attention on wrestling and in turn on AEW. Maybe because now they're using guys like Brock and Cena and Cody, like they're using their top guys and they're not using NXT level talent. I mean, not even NXT level talent, literal NXT talent with the NXT PLEs, or Goldberg, who was having his last match. Maybe they think that they can get all the media attention off of it, because when they've run these NXT shows this year, it hasn't hurt AEW at all. They still did 30,000 for All In. They still did their fourth biggest buy rate for that show. And it's not like they did anything special for that show outside of it was their biggest show. But it didn't have that drawing point of, oh, we got Sting's last match. Oh, we got this person's big return after however many years. This was just, we did our show. We did our stories. We culminated at the biggest event. We peaked right here. And a lot of people tuned in to pay for it. And they didn't tune in to NXT. But when you're running Cody, Punk, Cena, like, you're going to get a lot more media attention and just a lot more attention in general on the NXT shows. But I still think there's going to be people who find AEW through this, because they're going to see Cena and they might wonder, well, what happened to Edge? What happened to Christian? What happened to Jericho? Like, what's going on with them? Because it's very possible Cena gets asked about these guys. It's very possible they get asked about AEW in some interviews. And it's like, hey, you're running the same night as here. You know, they love asking Cody AEW questions on podcasts, and Cody makes headlines every single time he's asked about AEW. So it's very possible that they could just give more attention to AEW, because you're making the counter programming a conversation. And if it wasn't, you know, if you weren't counter programming, people wouldn't be talking about it. They'd just be talking about the WWE show. It's like, hey, there's a WWE show this weekend. Let's talk about that. But by counter programming, you were making that part of the conversation. And so you can't be surprised when it gets asked, and you can't be surprised if people find their way to AEW off that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost like the old, it probably still exists, but I feel like people have gotten a lot looser about like cross promoting and stuff nowadays. But like, you know, if you're watching like a McDonald's ad or whatever, like they would never mention Burger King. Like they might mention like our competition does this, but they're never going to be like Burger King is bad. Like you don't even want to mention the other company, because then people are like, wait, what's that? Like, oh, they might not even know what Burger King is. And then this is a bad example because everyone knows what I'm talking about. But my point stands is like it's almost like you're almost promoting them by trying to hurt them. So I hadn't really thought about it so much like that. You know, I felt like it kind of backfired on them when it came to the NXT shows, because I also didn't expect those to be able to really compete with an AEW pay-per-view. I just feel like all the names you mentioned, Brock, Cody, Seth, Cena, so on and so forth, Punk, like that's an actual attempt to get a chunk of the audience, like of the in-between or casual fan who, like, I mean, nowadays though, honestly, most people are just going to watch both. Most people have more than one screen, you know, so.
That's also, I mean, that could be expensive.
Of course.
You know, people in our chat mentioning like $30 for the ESPN platform. Now there's bundles, and if you have certain other networks, like you might be shoehorned, grandfathered in, but that hasn't been totally clear on what you need, because some people thought, oh, if you have YouTube TV, you get it. And it's like, oh, no, actually, that's not a thing yet. And apparently they don't have a deal with Xfinity or Comcast or anything. I haven't looked fully all into it, because I do have just the bundle. I upgraded the Disney, Hulu, bundle into the new ESPN platform, that's still $30 for all three of those. And then an AEW pay-per-view is still going to cost you $40, $50 depending on where you're getting it from. So you're still looking at $70 to potentially watch both of these shows, which is far more than it used to be when WWE Network was around and you got $10 for everything.
Yeah, those were the days. We took those days for granted. Still, everything you just said combined is still less than one current UFC pay-per-view. I know that's changing.
Yeah, that'll change.
Yeah. That's thank you, whatever higher power that anyone believes in. Thank that thing for the UFC finally getting rid of their $80 pay-per-views starting next year. But I think that AEW will follow suit when it becomes like viable for them to do that. If they're doing good on pay-per-view now, like they're getting good numbers for what's good for them, and like they're able to charge what they're able to charge. Like I think I'll put it this way, in all honesty, and I know that the argument or the point you're really bringing up is more that like if you want to watch both collectively, that's pretty expensive. But I do, and I'm not. I know I'm with Fightful, but I promise you I'm not paid for and to endorse or sponsor or anything that has to do with AEW. This is my honest opinion as a wrestling fan of over 30 years. I think that the AEW pay-per-views are worth the money. Like I have no problem paying like $50 or whatever. If they started becoming like $80 or whatever, that'd probably become a problem, like it was with the UFC. But I feel like they give me my value every time I pay for them. So I'm not even hesitant to do it. And, I'm also lucky. Like I have a friend who watches the pay-per-views with me and we split the cost and we watch it together and stuff. So it ends up being like 25 a piece or whatever. So like in that sense too, it's very affordable. If you got like some friends who are also into it that, want to watch and stuff, like that's not bad. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if it backfires at all in the WWE. I mean, it backfired from like public opinion to a degree, obviously. Like there's a lot of people who don't like that the WWE is doing this because they feel like it's just kind of a bully tactic. You don't have to run the show. You're pulling shows out of nowhere. You're literally creating events so that they can compete directly with AEW. So, once again, as a fan, I'll be watching both. And I'm with you. I have the bundle with the three Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN. So I haven't tested anything with it. Like I guess there hasn't been a way to. But I'm assuming it will be good to just watch the pay-per-view when it.
Not if you haven't upgraded it. Like you're only gonna get ESPN Plus content, not ESPN Unlimited content.
Gotcha.
And the WWE pay-per-views are on Unlimited. I had to like manually go in and upgrade the bundle package because like I was paying, I don't know, it was like $18 a month for the three of them. And then you can still pay that, still the $18 a month, but you're only getting ESPN Plus content. You have to go in and upgrade to the ESPN Unlimited content, which will be $30 a month for all three of them.
ESPN Max Plus Premium. Nonsense. But if I have like a Comcast login, like a cable login for that has an ESPN, like I can get the ESPN channel on my television through my cable company. They will have. I think there's like a lot. Like there's an option where I could use that on. Maybe
there's been.
It'll be interesting to see how this goes
on that.
Luckily, this is like not WrestleMania that they're figuring this out during. You know what I mean? This is like a new show that like it's gonna have some hype, but like work the kinks out, I guess. And then Peacock, I saw, is getting all the Saturday night's main events still just on Peacock, not on NBC. Has there been anything about the library? Is that still on Peacock, or they're shopping that still?
Yeah, that's still on Peacock right now. So,
but like, do you know like if there's like a time frame before they lose that, or if like that?
I believe it would be next year. It would be first quarter of next year because that's when they signed the 5-year deal with Peacock, and that moved the library from the network to Peacock. So I imagine now. I know they signed a new deal with Peacock that brings Saturday night's main event, which puts them on Peacock 4 shows annually. but the library is at least on Peacock to, I think March is when the original deal was going to expire. So I imagine March is when the library deal could potentially expire.
It'll be interesting to follow along. It's wild how the WWE has diversified all of their distribution, like to different platforms, how they have, where like it takes forever to break it all down. But like, obviously the examples of like SmackDown's on USA, but Raw's on Netflix, but Peacock's getting SMNE, and ESPN is now getting the premium live events. And it's like, it's wild. I mean, obviously the WWE is making a ton of money doing this stuff, and that's where a lot of the value for like Nick Khan comes into play. That's why he's in the position he's in, is because he's like the guy that makes these kind of deals all over the place. That's what was also so interesting when the UFC just all went to just Paramount Plus, because I figured they'd do what the WWE did, and they still kind of can. Like, I think the UFC could still, like, technically they could probably shop like Dana White's Contender Series and the Ultimate Fighter and like the kind of the peripheral smaller stuff that they do. They might be able to still shop out to other places, but it is see, like Amanda says in the chat, for the consumer it's so confusing. I agree with that. I definitely, and this is from somebody who, like, I try to keep up the best I can with all this stuff, and I'm already a subscriber of like the majority of the platforms we're talking about. And even for me, I'm like, I almost need just like a WWE tab on my Roku, to where like I just hit the WWE tab and then it just finds where the show is. Like, I'm paying for the app, just find it for me. You know what I mean? Eventually something like that will probably just exist. Anyways.
So to clarify, you mentioned you had Xfinity Comcast.
Yeah, that has
Okay,
like
so
ESPN channel.
Yeah, that's not included. The people who get ESPN Unlimited as part of the pay TV package are Hulu plus Live TV, Direct TV, streaming only, Fubo TV, and Spectrum TV. So you got to have one of those 4 plans to get the ESPN Unlimited as part of your package.
So I would have to upgrade my pack, because I already have like the Disney, Hulu, ESPN. So I need to like upgrade that to like how much more expensive is the tier than like the base tier? Do you know? Like,
It's $30 for all 3, and that's with the ads. And
yeah.
Okay,
that's not bad. Like, because currently I think it was like probably around $20 already. Like, it wasn't. I think it was already like kind of expensive. Anyways, I actually don't have much of an issue paying $30 a month for that, because you're getting Hulu also with that. I don't do a whole lot with Hulu's going away and just becoming Disney, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I for me personally, there's enough value in that to not have to pay for other. But yeah, no, it's totally it gets totally confusing. I'm with everybody who has issues with that. But yeah.
Let's go to the AEW spotlight.
Over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
AEW, allegedly New Japan, Forbidden Door, this weekend, headlined by... Oh, wait, we kind of talked about the cage match last week, and not much has changed with the cage match. What did change is the AEW World title match, because MJF threatened to burn Mark Briscoe unless his requests were made, which were DQ, title changes hands, count out, title changes hands, and I don't have to execute my contract. Hangman agreed because he's a coward and he didn't want to see Mark Briscoe burned. He should have called MJF's bluff and been like, do it, I dare you. Let's see if you have the balls to actually burn this man. But he didn't do that. He just went ahead and agreed. But now that this is not a contract execution, does it change your opinion on how the match kind of plays out?
Well, first off, I appreciate... Did you watch My Brother and Me when we were kids on Nickelodeon?
A little bit.
There was a famous... I say famous. You had to have been like our age, like right place, right time to even know the show existed. But I remember an episode where Dee Dee keeps almost getting in a fight at school. Like, some kids like keep picking on him. and the advice he gets from his brother Alfie is just get in their face and just say, hit me. And then
I do remember
that.
Yes,
and then
yes,
he comes home with a black eye. And it's like, what happened? I got hit. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's the same kind of idea with like, do it. Light him on fire. I bet you won't. And then he actually lights him on fire in front of everybody.
Then go to jail. Then you don't have a title match. So
dude, y'all want to see some fire? I don't know if we talked about it on the show.
John Wayne Murdoch.
Well, there was that. I think we talked about that on this show.
Yeah.
Even worse was it was a 4th of July weekend. I talked about it for 20 minutes on the Weekender.
Yeah.
When JJ Allen, this wasn't even a spot in the match. He was wearing like a cape.
Yeah.
And walked over the pyrotechnics, which is it was just like an aluminum can with sparklers flying out of it. And he was more on fire than anyone I've ever seen, including like a movie. Like he went up completely in flames, and he wears a mask too. So like the mask is on fire, and he was completely on fire. And luckily there was a full above ground pool sitting there that he could just jump into. And then he tried to preserve kayfabe as well, by the way, because his mask fell off, and he tried to get it on real quick. And it's like he was more concerned about that than the fact that he was burning. Anyways, you go out of your way. I'm laughing about it because no one was seriously hurt somehow, but that's all I can think of now. Like when you were just thinking about someone getting lit on fire, no one was more on fire than that. And then John Wayne Murdoch, a similar situation a few weeks ago when he got put through a flaming door, and I think Mickey Knuckles was the one who put lighter fluid or gasoline all over the place, and he went. It had to have been who was it? Too Tough Tony, I think, is who put him through the door. But anyways, John Wayne Murdoch went up in flames, and it's wild because when they can't put wrestlers out, all they do is they just beat the shit out of them. They're trying to just beat the fire out of them. So you're kicking someone's ass while they're on fire, trying to put it out. He rolls into the crowd, and I think the crowd was trying to help put it out because listen, I'll just say this as somebody who makes, I can't say make a living off of this, but who makes money weekly talking about independent wrestling and covering independent wrestling. Please listen to me, independent promoters, Brett Lauderdale. At least have a fire extinguisher. Have something ready. If you know you're going to be using fire, every time Too Tough Tony appears, listen, the meteorite punch is one of my favorite moves in wrestling. I mark out every time I see it. I love that flaming punch that he does. But someone should always be ready with a fire extinguisher every time there's fire. And there never is. No one's ever prepared for it. Anyways, that all said, looping back around, to answer your question about if I think that MJF and these stipulations are going to change the match, I think it'll change the way that the match is actually put together for sure. And I don't know if they'll do this, but logically speaking, with MJF making the DQ title change stipulation, you would think he'd have just a bunch of people ready to run in and attack him. Bell rings, somebody get at MJF because the second someone touches him, he wins the title. So I feel there's going to be something where Mark Briscoe or maybe some other people have to fight off people who are trying to do that. You know what I mean? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I had the idea that they should just come out with MJF, not even run in, but they should just Ricochet and Gates of Agony, since they work together on Wednesday. They should just be there with MJF. Bell rings, they pull MJF to the outside and they punch him in the face. That's it. That's that. Match over. Obviously,
logically speaking, that's what
I do think we'll get a spot where Ricochet runs in and he's gonna try to punch MJF, and Hangman has to cut him off with a buckshot, or Mark Briscoe comes in and cuts him off somehow, whatever it might be. I do think we will get that spot where they tease MJF getting hit by someone he is paid to hit him, and Hangman or someone else has to cut that off before it happens.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that the commentary will do a good job of like explaining in the moment what's happening, because that's going to be really, really important. I think also. I know obviously we're expecting it and like we're talking about it and predicting it, but for a lot of the audience, I think it's going to be really important that commentary is like, here's Ricochet. Oh no, like he's going to try to hit him to disqualify him. Like he's going to try to win the title off DQ. Like they'll make it really obvious what's going on, which I think is, that's just going to be important that they do that, because otherwise it just looks like MJF's getting attacked. And it's just like, wait a second, what? But I also think that the Hurt Syndicate could still get involved. I'm not fully convinced that that's all completely actually over with. I do like, it's a double-edged sword. I really liked last week the back and forth between Hangman and MJF, and how Hangman outsmarted MJF into accepting the match and using his contract for the match. I don't like how they just undid that last night when it was done so well last week, and it made so much sense last week. But on the flip side, like I do like that MJF isn't losing the contract, because I think he should cash it in a heelish way months from now. I also think when he cashes it in, there's a really good chance he'll win the championship. And I don't think anyone expects him to win the championship this weekend, because Hangman's so fresh into this title run. And also, I don't think that they would have had, I mean, we'll get into our predictions in a second for like Athena and Toni Storm, but like hypothetically speaking, if Toni Storm were to beat Athena and it's pretty much a foregone conclusion MJF's losing to Hangman, it makes the gauntlet thing look lame. Like it amounted to nothing for either person. I think at least one of them has to cash in and win with it. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you. Joel and I had a big discussion about that earlier this week, so I'm not gonna fully rehash that. But I'm with you that if they both kind of execute their contract and they both lost, now you're looking at 0-3 for the Casino Gauntlet at All In, and it was already weird to the two matches going down on this show, especially when it's two heels and it seems like you can cash in at any time. And say what you will about the stipulation, feel how you will about it. That's what the stipulation is, or appears to be. So we're playing by the rules of the stipulation. And based on that, why are you both executing it like ahead of time, and your heels, and you're letting your babyface champions know, hey, by the way, I'm going to face you here. Athena, it made some sense because she's long reigning ROH Women's Champion. She feels she can beat Tony, and by letting Tony know. MJF made no sense. And that's why the segment last week was good, of goading him into it. But it also didn't make a lot of sense because MJF just said, okay, I'll execute my contract. But like, he's got to sign it. He didn't sign it. And he kind of made that point last night. And that's how he went back on his word. But that's where the segment missed for me a little bit last week. Is it was good. The way they played their roles was very good. But MJF just saying, I'll sign it. Like, honestly, he could have came out. He didn't even need to do the whole thing this week of, oh, I'm going to burn him unless I get these requests. It could have just been like, yeah, I said I was going to do it. You dummies. I gotta sign the thing. I've not signed anything. This contract is still good. So actually what happened is I just got my title match and I didn't have to sign anything. Hangman's the idiot. You could have done the same thing like that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. We're on the same page with all of that. And I know that our prediction is Hangman for both of us. Yeah. But at least the stipulations do make it a little more interesting. I think what they were really going for here was exactly that, because like no one expects MJF to win. So at least it gives you some sort of something to make it a little more interesting.
And I wouldn't be shocked. I kind of said this earlier this week that MJF, like, because we talked about them possibly getting out of the contract execution, and then they did. And I said, well, what if he gets out of the contract execution, loses, but then executes the contract and wins? And I'm not fully ruling that out. I think you'd have to have like Hurt Syndicate actually come down and like that'll all be a ruse and a swerve. And if that's not the case, then I don't know how you get there with MJF. So it could just be he loses, but he's like, I still have my contract execution. Watch it back. Like you're not out of the woods here.
Yeah, I could see that happening too. And if it does happen, I think it would happen exactly like you just said. Like it would have to be after the match, Hurt Syndicate helps MJ, like beats down Hangman. MJF winds up winning the championship. I hope that they don't go that route. I want to see Hangman with the title. I mean, it took him so long to win this title back, and all the stuff he had to do, and all the stories that had to be told, and everything, the way it all finally, like, you know, and he's getting good reactions as the champion. And I think a big reason why people, like, Dynamite's been hot, and like people are watching the show and enjoying the show. And I think a lot of it has to do with that Hangman's the champion right now. Like, people want him to be the champion. And MJF, with his character on the show, like, at any time, as long he's like, I'm honestly like against the idea of like every company doing a Money in the Bank gimmick. Like, it's like just been so overdone. But MJF is like the one guy who it makes all the sense in the world to have something like a Money in the Bank contract because of his character. Like, so because you could honestly believe that at any point he's going to do something super underhanded and like he's going to win the championship. And there's just too many stories for Hangman to keep telling as the champion. I feel like we got to go back to Swerve. We got to go to Ospreay. Like, there's other things that I think need to happen before MJF ultimately, like, I'm in favor of MJF becoming the AEW champion again. I'm not against it. I just think it has to, not at the expense of Hangman. Not, you know, he's got to have a run first before he loses it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Hangman's going to retain, and he's probably going to have the title for a while. I wouldn't be shocked if MJF cashing in is how the reign ends. I just don't think that's on Sunday. All right, the lights out steel cage match. Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, who again were absent from Dynamite, and they'll be absent from Collision, spoiler alert. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Darby Allin, Will Ospreay. Darby Allin's the healthiest man in this match, and he just got done climbing Mount Everest and swimming with sharks. That's the state of this team right now. Against Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Gabe Kidd, and the Young Bucks. Who do you think wins this?
I'm going to stick with the babyface team. It's tough seeing Tanahashi hobbling around out there. I don't know what he's going to be looking like in a match like that. I mean, you can hide it a lot because there'd be so much going on and so many people. But even last night in that, you know, multi-man match, like him just walking to the ring, you're like, damn, like his hips are fucked. I mean, like something's up. Like I all the credit in the world to him for.
He's got no knees. Like
no knees. All yeah. I'm sure
knees.
It's all. Yeah. I mean, it's all. I mean, it's the. There's a lot of wrestlers that deal with that. Obviously, like later on in their career and in retirement, a lot of it is hips and knee stuff, back stuff, spine stuff. You know, taking all those bumps. I have nothing but respect for Tanahashi. Like, I'm not like trash talking him by saying that. It's just like blatantly obvious. Like when he comes out, it's like that's. I honestly don't want to see him get like actually hurt while I'm watching him. But you know, this is his last year. He's going out there, you know, doing the best he can. It's cool that we get to see him. I just don't see, and also I think, you know, Ospreay will get like a big react. He's, you know, a lot of the show's kind of built around him to a degree. Like he's like on like, you know, the main poster, I think, also for the show, and stuff. So yeah, I don't know where they go, but I've also been saying like I don't know where they go with the Death Rider stuff for a while now, and they keep figuring out kind of some way to keep it going. I don't hate the alliance though between like Moxley and the Young Bucks, and I think Moxley's been doing great. Like, I mean, he's killing it still. I hope that he's not the one that the AEW fans eventually turn on if Jericho leaves. Like, I hope he's not the one that they pick as the guy to just boo out of the building for no reason every week. But because he's an ex-WWE guy or whatever. But yeah, I'm taking the baby faces. And just like we talked about last week, I don't know what this is going to look like. Like how you could possibly have a steel cage match when it's lights out. Like I'm just assuming the match has to end in the cage. That's all. That's the only reason I can imagine they even have the cage. So
I think the Death Rider Bucks are going to win.
Okay.
And I think the baby faces are kind of banged up. I think this is maybe a way to get some of them off TV a little bit longer, because not Swerve, we'll talk about him, but Ospreay might need time off. Kenny hasn't been back since All In. Coda wrestled just before All In, and that was it. I don't know how much they're going to be active television performers. I think Darby will continue to be there. Obviously, Tanahashi's not going to be active in AEW. So it could just be Lone Man Darby unless he can get himself some new friends against these guys. But if these guys are going away, let's say Ospreay is going away, obviously Tanahashi is going away. Let's say Kenny and Kota aren't going to be around kind of weekly. It makes more sense for, the guys who are there every week to kind of pick up this victory. Because Darby's like fine. Darby can win, lose, especially if he doesn't take the pinfall. Darby's Darby. He's pretty made in AEW. But I would beat somebody like Tanahashi. I'd even beat Ospreay if Ospreay is going to be gone for a while. So I'm working kind of on the assumption that the baby faces aren't going to be on television consistently over the next couple of weeks and months. And if that's my theory, then the conclusion would be the Death Riders and the Young Bucks win because they're actually going to be there.
That all makes sense. Because either way, like ultimately we have to get Darby beating Mox one-on-one.
Yes.
Like that's like the ultimate, like that's the most important thing actually at the end of the day when that eventually happens. Wasn't part of this, if I remember correctly, wasn't Moxley basically like, I don't want to take on Darby one-on-one, but I'll do lights out steel cage. It's like, you're afraid of Darby, but you're cool with this. Also, I think that the Young Bucks, that stuff's been consistently entertaining. I was skeptical when they changed the gimmick to making them like low budget and all that stuff. I think the stuff they've done week to week with the Young Bucks actually has been pretty funny, even down to having like really poorly cut out like PNG images and stuff. Like the detail they're going into trying to make it look bad, I think has actually been pretty entertaining. So I got to give AEW their credit for that. I was skeptical when this all changed, but they've made it work, at least up to this point, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how the match plays out. Athena against Toni Storm for the championship.
I'm gonna go with Timeless Tony to retain. I'm saying that like it's a bad thing. I think I like Athena a lot. I think that's part of why I'm like, because I want Athena to be on AEW consistently, which I know all the fans want at this point, but I don't see Athena doing the champ thing. Like I think Athena will eventually lose the Ring of Honor. I don't know. I mean, you can look at it both ways. Like, because if Athena were to win this championship, then whoever eventually beats her, that's a humongous rub for that person. But at the same time, like, you wouldn't want her to lose the Ring of Honor title while she's the AEW women's champ. Like it gets too weird and too convoluted if she has both. For whenever she loses next, unless she just vacated the Ring of Honor title, which would be a really bad idea in my opinion. Because someone, I mean, Billy Starks is obviously like the most obvious choice and has been for years at this point to dethrone Athena eventually. But yeah, I'm taking Toni Storm. I think she keeps this run going.
Yeah, I think Toni Storm wins this as well. Hurt Syndicate against Brodito and FTR. Brodito and FTR met in the finals of the tag team title eliminator. It went to a 30-minute draw, so they are both in this match. It is an elimination match.
Yeah, I'm gonna take FTR, like we were talking last week, to set up FTR versus Cope and Christian in Toronto. I thought the match last night was really good between Brodito and FTR. I thought FTR was going to win, but then once I realized how long the match was going, I was like, maybe they will actually do a triple threat or through elimination rather. I like the elimination style better than just straight up one pinfall also. So, but that's my main line of thinking.
Sorry, just wait until Bobby Lashley just stacks all four men and pins them all.
That'd be wild. That'd be wild. See, the thing is, like, I would have assumed that this wouldn't have been elimination because that way they could have had Brody or Bandito take the pinfall and like keep, Lashley and Benjamin, unbeaten or whatever. I guess I'm interested in what happens next with the Hurt Syndicate because I have to assume it's going to be related to the MJF storyline. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm taking FTR because it just makes too much sense for them to be the champions going to Toronto against Cope and Christian.
Yeah, I think it'll be FTR as well. I also don't think that needs like a title match. And Brodito has something right now to where I'd kind of roll with the hot hand. I don't think they will, but I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. I'm sticking with FTR.
Okada against Swerve for the unified title.
I'm going to go with Okada. I just don't like, I love Swerve as much as, the next guy, I don't, did I see is Swerve dealing with an injury also?
Yeah. Fightful Select. I'll pull up the report here, but this is from Sean that Swerve is, on the August 13th episode, it was noted that Swerve had been seen by AEW doctors for a knee injury. Sean is told that this is based on reality and could affect the immediate future of All Elite Wrestling. Fightful Select confirmed that Swerve is actually working with a torn meniscus and that this isn't anything new. He actually had a tear in his meniscus since 2019 when he was training at the PC. At the time, he rested for 4 weeks and was back on television. AEW sources indicated that Jacksonville Jaguars Medical is actually helping him recover from the injury. There's a possibility that he could require surgery and time off. We'd heard earlier this year that Swerve was actually going to take time off after All In, but that didn't end up happening. So he's been working through this injury. Now maybe they feel, all right, let's give it kind of proper dosage here and not just keep working through it and it get worse.
That's going to be, I'm sticking with Okada even more so now, knowing that. It's going to be interesting. It's another topic. We'll talk about it another week. But it's going to be interesting if like Ospreay is going to be gone for a while. Swerve's going to be gone for a while. Like they're going to be missing. It'd be interesting to see who steps up. Obviously, Darby is going to be like right in that pipeline, and like the Darby Mox thing will probably get highlighted as like one of the main feuds and stuff. But like interesting. I think they're going to have a really good match. I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those matches that I never even like thought about as like a dream match, but like it's like one of those things like I didn't know I wanted, you know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to it. I just don't, between Swerve's injury and Okada, although obviously he was the Continental Champion for a long time already, he just now has technically become the Unified Champion recently, and I don't think they're gonna switch up like this fast and take the title off of him.
I think Okada is gonna win, and then Swerve might be taking time off after this. Mercedes Moné against Alex Windsor, Persephone, and Bozilla for the TBS title.
I'm going to take Mercedes Moné, obviously. It's an interesting matchup, though. Like, those four, it should be a really good match. Alex Windsor seems like, she's catching some, getting some buzz recently and stuff. So, yeah, I can't think of hardly anybody on the entire AEW roster outside of Tony Storm, obviously, that I would take to beat Mercedes Moné. So it's just kind of like it's kind of a boring like prediction or whatever. But like I think there's no chance Mercedes Moné loses.
Yeah, I think whenever she loses this title, it's got to be a 1-on-1 match, not a 4-way match.
Yeah,
Kyle Fletcher and Hiromu Takahashi.
Yeah, they'll keep that on Kyle Fletcher, especially because Takahashi isn't like a regular AEW guy. But I do like the matchup a lot. I've liked Takahashi for a long time. I think he brings something different to the table. I like his look. I like his move set and everything. Kyle Fletcher, I legitimately think could be the face of the entire company, at some point in the future. Like he's already well on his way there. He looks the part. He's only going to keep getting better. I think he's very marketable. I think the TNT Championship is like the first of many singles titles that Kyle Fletcher's going to win. And I think he will eventually become the AEW champion if he stays there, long enough. So, and that's not to say I think that he's going to leave or whatever. I just, I don't, the AEW roster is so stacked and there's so many things they'd have to do before Kyle Fletcher was in that mix. But if he's, still, if he's still there and he's still getting better and he's still over and so on and so forth, like a couple of years from now, I could totally see Kyle Fletcher like as one of the legitimately their top guy. So yeah, I'm taking Kyle Fletcher. I think it's gonna be a really good match though. Sleeper on this card, but it's because of so many big matches.
I'm looking forward to the match. I don't think there's any chance Kyle Fletcher loses, but it should be a great match. Zack Sabre Jr. against Nigel McGuinness.
Well, yeah, sorry, I keep saying, I'm like, I keep getting a text message. It's not important though. I thought it's from somebody that like, if it was important, I'd have to look, but like, it's not something that's important. It's something that's from someone important, but it's not an important thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously ZSJ is going to retain here. It's cool that Nigel's getting the shot, but it's also like weird with like how stacked the roster is that like, he never, I mean, it's cool that he is getting to wrestle. I have a bone to pick with Nigel too. I'm not going to lie.
What's this about?
I don't even want to show. I don't want to get up to have to show it. I got a, I don't want to put him on the spot like this. I don't think this wasn't intentional. When this was really recent, I had a friend of mine getting me autographs at All In. They were doing like the different conventions and whatnot. And I sent a bunch of figures to my friend to get signed by these wrestlers. And he got all of them, including Nigel. But Nigel's signature on what I got was like, they just weren't prepared. So like all the other ones came out great. Like my Takeshita looks awesome. My Matt Cardona looks awesome. My Okada looks awesome. But like he used this like silver, it was like a silver Sharpie and it was like this big, like you can't even see the signature. And obviously I paid for the signature. So I was like I would not have given you money for this amount for what I received was not what I paid for.
That clam digger, Nigel McGuinness. You once called Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Clam digger. Yeah. Nigel McGuinness with poor penmanship. Nigel doesn't understand how the autograph game works around here.
I'm not knocking the penmanship. I'm knocking that he did it really small and with a marker that you can't even see. It's not even worth me getting up and like pulling this out and showing it to you because you won't even be able to see that. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it then. Hold on.
I'm going to call him out then. Fine, his penmanship might be okay, but he needs to understand how autographs work. Matt Cardona gets it. Use the paint pen. Chelsea Green gets it. Nigel McGuinness. He should understand how the autograph game works. Maybe he's not big enough of a name to do autographs. So that's why he didn't know it was done. Nigel should be thankful that someone actually wanted his autograph. And this is how he repays them.
Like, look at, I have to like, it's on top of him. See how like, I have to get in like the perfect light. I mean, from like back here, you can't, it's like, dude, come on, man. I was hoping to get Jerry Lynn to sign the other side, but he wasn't signing. Anyways, I had to get it though, because the thing was, I have a lot of nostalgia for Nigel McGuinness. Like, I remember obviously his run in Ring of Honor in the early 2000s, and it was always one of the biggest like what ifs in wrestling of like, oh man, like if he would have been able to keep wrestling, or if he would have stayed in it, and he could have been one of the greats and all this stuff. So it's cool that we're getting to see him wrestle nowadays, and I know it's cool for him. It's cool, but yeah, I mean, there's literally, and stylistically, I mean, you really couldn't have given him a better opponent than ZSJ, to be honest, because both of those guys are going to be going for like all the chain wrestling and stuff, and I think it's going to be a totally different match than anything else on the show, which is a good thing. I like that it's going to be kind of different flavors and stuff throughout the show. But yeah, obviously ZSJ is going to retain, and it's just kind of lame, like I said, that he's the commentate in the in the AEW like universe. Like Nigel is mainly a commentator who wrestles very infrequently and is only like, has he won outside of this match to get this title shot? Like, has he ever won in AEW?
He lost to Danielson. He lost in the All-In match. They lost that tag team match, him and Garcia.
Yeah.
Against FTR. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he hasn't won, aside from the four-way, obviously.
And it's like, that's who gets a shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Like, that just seems kind of... I'm almost surprised that New Japan even agreed to that. But...
Well, why? They're fine with it. I know that...
well, their guy's going to win either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
It's fine. I think Daniel Garcia might like throw in the towel for Nigel, and that kind of starts the heel turn for Garcia. So
I like that. I like the idea of that a lot. But yeah, I'm taking ZSJ to win for sure.
And Cope and Christian against Kip Sabian and Luchasaurus, the returning Luchasaurus, because Nick Wayne is out with a broken foot.
Okay, I'm gonna say something right now that like it just needs to be said. All right. Like, people might not even like that I'm going to say this. It's just the honest truth. They need to do something about, like, I don't know if Nick Wayne's mom is wearing lifts or if she's just that tall, which is like, you can't help that. I'm not like height shaming somebody, but it was jarring seeing that Luchasaurus is like the same height as her. Like, that was so weird seeing, because Luchasaurus has always been presented as this like monster, right? And then he comes out into the ring and like he's like eye to eye with Mama Wayne. And I was like, wait a second, he's not, because I know Nick Wayne's mom isn't a giant. That's my whole point. Is like she's not like a humongous human being. So I'm like, wait, he's the same size as Nick Wayne's mom? Like, that was just a weird look to me. And I think she is wearing lifts, by the way. Like, I think
she's super tall.
Well, listen, there's nothing wrong with being super tall. I think she's incredibly attractive personally. But my point is like, was that not weird to like, was that not surprising to see? Like, I just think it's a weird look. Like, because Luchasaurus is supposed to be this monster and he's the same size as Nick Wayne's mom. It was just like, it just looked weird to me. I don't know how else to say it. I was watching the show with two other people last night, and they both said the same thing. And we were all just like, yeah, this is weird. The actual return was kind of cool. How he like came back from like, the dead pretty much in like the operating room. Also, I don't think this will be the case, but they didn't show the person who saved him. And it should be Jack Perry.
It's going to be Jack Perry.
You think so? You're on the same page as me?
All the ITW faithful were ready to jack off when Jack Perry returns.
I didn't know that. I didn't know people called it that. And
people is me.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, it's people. Yeah. But we're ready. We're ready to ejaculate. The jacket's coming off, folks.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's a bummer that Nick Wayne can't do the match because I'm a big fan of his. And it was good to see Killswitch back. Like, I've always liked the guy, even though it was jarring seeing him next to Mama Wayne. That doesn't make me dislike him. It was just, I just didn't. I don't know. When you're a monster character, like, and the thing is, like, I'm so done with this whole thing with Christian. Hopefully Jack Perry comes back and they just like totally change course to some degree. I hope Nick Wayne is good going forward because I think he's got a ton of potential. I don't have a whole lot to say about Kip Sabian. Like, I don't think Kip Sabian's gonna light the world on fire or anything like that. Like, it's cool that he's gotten a spot on the show again after like it felt like eternity of being in the crowd with the box on his head. Yeah,
Cope and Christian are gonna win.
Oh, of course. I don't know. I think it goes without saying. Of course, Cope and Christian are gonna win. Yes.
I personally would like to see Cope and Christian win. Fine. Kip Sabian takes the pin. Christian then kicks Copeland in the dick. Jack Perry returns. Luchasaurus is up. we get the reunion of Christian, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus, but under different circumstances now, because they're no longer Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and happy-go-lucky like Christian outwork everybody. Christian, because Christian should be done with Cope after this. Christian said, "I got a problem with Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian." Well, Nick Wayne injured his foot. Kip Sabian's about to lose this match. Problem's done. Why does he need to help Copeland past this?
The FTR problem also.
Christian said, "I was going to help you with my FTR problem." Christian's an asshole. Christian doesn't follow through on his word. Like, you're on your own with FTR, buddy. I ain't got a real issue with them.
Well, the actual logical path this whole story should have went would be Nick Wayne pinning Christian. After all of this, Christian should be the heel. Nick Wayne should be the babyface. Luchasaurus, I can go either way with. You just got to kind of figure out what they want to do with him. But I hope they bring back Jungle Boy's old music and stuff too. That'd be a big pop. The whole scapegoat thing just didn't work how they. The entire idea of them showing the CM Punk attempted a guillotine choke backstage and them trying to that was all so backwards. All the whole way all of it was presented, and they just didn't capitalize on it the right way at all. So Jack has just been. It just hasn't worked out how people expected it to. You might as well just go back to the old music and get a pop, in my opinion.
Yeah. It was a misfire with all of that. And I mean, I like Jack Perry, but it was a misfire. They could have done so much more with that, and it just felt like they did it to just be petty and spiteful and didn't actually have a plan of why they did it.
Well, and it wasn't even just Jack, because it was also the Young Bucks became the heel EVPs off of it, and it's wouldn't the whole why would you have not booked it we got rid of the cancer, that they were heroes, not that they were villains for all this stuff. They showed footage of Jack and CM Punk backstage. CM Punk totally instigates it. I don't know what Jack says to him, to be fair, but CM Punk physically instigates it, puts him in a half-assed guillotine, lunges at Tony Khan, and AEW's plan was to make Jack Perry and the Young Bucks the bad guys in that situation. Just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're at where we're at. It didn't wind up working. So.
No. That is AEW, allegedly New Japan, Forbidden Door. Everybody, let's go to our other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
Konosuke Takeshita has won the G1. He unfortunately defeated Evil in the finals. I was a little surprised Evil even made the finals, because I did pick Tsuji to win and then win the whole tournament, although I was rooting for Evil. But Takeshita will get his shots at the Tokyo Dome, if not before the Tokyo Dome. What'd you make, Jensen? The part-timer wins the G1.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I like it. We both, well, I guess, yeah, you took Go to Tsuji, but we're both Takeshita guys. I think you called Takeshita the best in-ring wrestler right now or something recently.
Yes.
And I wouldn't disagree. I think he is absolutely in that conversation. I will give a shout out, by the way, to Alec Price, who I think on the indie level right now, I'd put his in-ring work right now up against anybody. He's hitting a whole another level right now with Jordan Oliver. We're going to talk about that tag team in a little bit, but Takeshita absolutely killing it. He, I'd like to see him win the IWGP Championship. It'll be interesting to see if they hold off until the Tokyo Dome, because ZSJ won the title last year before it, and then went into the Tokyo Dome with the title, right?
Yeah. Zack Sabre won the G1, but then won the title at Royal Quest and defended it against Shota in the main event.
So I could see them maybe doing something like that if they don't have a long-term plan for Takeshita, meaning if I could see them like, I wouldn't want them to hot potato the title so much personally, but I could see a scenario where Takeshita beats ZSJ sometime between now and Wrestle Kingdom, and Takeshita is the champion going into Wrestle Kingdom, and then loses it to Yota Tsuji or someone like that. Like he loses the title to their next, actual full-time guy. Otherwise, I would hold off until the Tokyo Dome, and I would have Takeshita have the title win there. I'd have, obviously it's kind of a pipe dream because like he is part-time. He is more of an AEW guy. He has contracts with AEW, New Japan, and DDT still, I think. Yeah. So, it's hard to like fully commit for any company, like to go, I guess, all the way with him, like as like the top face or the top guy, like the main face of the company, like the top guy of the company or whatever. But I just think the talent is he's just so good, and I think he does bring other. Like I think he actually is a draw to New Japan as far as like there are people that I think don't watch New Japan on a regular basis that do tune in for Takeshita. So I think there's value in that as well, bringing in new fans. And I mean, he's Japanese. I mean, it's like, like he's obviously, he can speak the language there. Like he's very marketable there. Like he's a great representative to be the New Japan champion. So I'd like to see it happen as a fan of his and as somebody who, once again, has a signed action figure of his, a limited edition, that I want the value to continue to skyrocket. So the better his career goes, the more value I get on that. But no, Takeshita's the man. I want Takeshita to be the AEW World Champion at some point in the future. Like I'm all in on that dude. So, yeah, my prediction is that he's going to beat Zack Sabre Jr. for the championship. I just don't know if it's going to be before or at the Tokyo Dome, even if it's just short term.
I kind of agree, and I don't love it because it's what they did last year, and I think it lessens the G1 of you win the G1, you get to headline the Tokyo Dome as the challenger. Like that's just always been the thing. Now you're doing 2 straight years where you win the G1, you win the title before Tokyo Dome. You're still headlining the Tokyo Dome, which is good, but effectively cashing in your title shot before the Tokyo Dome kind of defeats the purpose because there's no guarantee you're going to win the title. Obviously, last year it did happen. In this scenario, it would happen, but there's no guarantee of that. Like the Tokyo Dome main event is kind of the prize for winning the G1, more so, but just as importantly as the title shot. Why would you want the title shot as, again, it made sense with Zach. Let's do it in his hometown, Royal Quest or England. So it made sense there. Takeshita, I don't think it makes sense to do it beforehand. I think the Tokyo Dome makes sense. Now, will it be Zach and Takeshita again to run back their semifinal match? I don't know. I don't know if Zach is going to be the champion, but if he's not the champion, I don't know who they're putting that title on because they could have gone with Tsuji. I thought they should have gone with Tsuji. They didn't. Him losing to Evil, a lot of people feel type of way about that. As much as the chaos demon in me loves Evil and thinks it's hilarious, I'm also like, yeah, that's probably not a great booking decision. They don't really have another guy that feels ready to take that title from Zach and headline the Tokyo Dome. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like, it'd be similar to like if you won the Royal Rumble and you were like, instead of giving the main event of WrestleMania, I'm going to wrestle you at Saturday night's main event, like 2 months before the show. Like you wouldn't. They almost kind of did that with Cody, where they were like, he was like, I'm going to, whenever he said he was not going to use his title shot and give it to The Rock or whatever, but that was a whole other, completely different scenario, obviously. It worked out pretty well. It worked out great, actually. It worked out the best ever. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think that they should do the match at Wrestle Kingdom, and I want to see Takeshita win. So, and I thought it was funny, like you did too. I mean, the whole wrestling world thinks it's funny when Evil like continues to get like big wins and stuff. Oh, also, it's worth mentioning. I'm pretty sure ZSJ and Takeshita won 1-1 in the tournament. So, that would be a rubber match as well. So I like that aspect of it too. Kind of like winner take all type thing.
Yeah. All right. The other spotlight, Triple Mania this past week. The biggest thing coming out of it, literally, Omos and Microman. Jensen, I know you had to love this spot.
I marked out so hard for this, like, because I'm such a big fan of Omos and Microman. So like, yeah, this was awesome. Like, and you knew it was where this was going the second you realized both of these guys were in this match. It was like, oh, this stare down is going to be epic. So I'll start with Omos. Good to see him back. I don't know when was the last thing he did, the Lesnar match at WrestleMania, or was he in like any kind of like
he was in. Yeah, I think he was in one of the Battle Royal. I mean, he did the run in All Japan to start the year. I think the last
it was Noah.
Noah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I legitimately think the last thing he did was the Andre Battle Royal, not this past year, but last year, like in 2024. That's legitimately the last thing he did. So this was his first. I mean, technically, he still hasn't appeared on WWE TV, although AAA is owned by WWE, so I guess it kind of counts. But yeah, he hasn't done anything on WWE TV since the Andre 2024.
Well, it was good to see him back on like a WWE, even though AAA, like you said, basically a WWE produced show, which I watched live. I really enjoyed the entire Triple Mania show. Omos, I feel like, still has so much untapped potential. And I've said it 1,000 times on this show. I won't get super into it again, but like to be that size and to be able to move around as well as he does. And they haven't even tapped into like his actual personality at all. Like I've seen clips of him like rapping at Wall-E Mania. I've seen his interviews and stuff. Like he's a likable dude. He's an entertaining. He's not just like some like just like some giant with no personality. Like this guy, he's the kind of guy like you see that dude anywhere and he's an attraction. Like you see that guy in the grocery store and you're like, whoa, is that like you immediately think, is he an athlete? Like that guy's somebody. Like look at this dude. And then you realize like he can actually kick ass and he can move around, and like I just feel like there's so much more that they can do with him in the WWE, and hopefully they figure that out. I would have him working with guys like Kevin Nash and stuff. Like honestly, like at least even if it was just over the phone or Skype or a FaceTime calls or something, like have him working with other guys that were, say, The Undertaker, other guys that were like successful big men that could actually move pretty well for people their sizes. Like he's a special talent. So it was good to see Omos get that win, and I think that like if they don't have anything for him in the WWE at the moment, leave him there for a little while. Just make him a massive attraction. Like, because that's a cool opportunity to have too. Like, you're giving this guy excursions basically while he's under contract. So, like, you let him go to Noah, become an attraction in Japan. You let him go to AAA, become an attraction in Mexico. He becomes more and more of like a worldwide kind of talent. And then eventually, when he's back in the WWE, he might be able to add some like extra moves here and there that, like, he quote unquote like wouldn't have known or wouldn't have learned had he not gone to Japan or gone to Mexico and stuff. Maybe it makes him way better overall in the long run on WWE TV. And that's what I'm hoping for him. So I like seeing him win that match. Microman, I bet that was a lot of people's first time seeing Microman because of, the WWE audience. I doubt a lot of them were watching GCW or watching his stuff previously in Mexico and all that. I think that Microman, I'm saying this completely unironically, he's one of the best actual wrestlers like you can find. And I know that people, he's like 3'0", blah, blah. To be that small and to be able to do anything that makes you even like suspend your disbelief at all is a testament to like how talented that guy is. Like he goes in there and you think there's no way he'll do anything. And then he like chops you down to size, like knocks your kneecaps in, you fall down to one knee, hits you with a Hurricane Rana. Like he like makes it make sense. And obviously we're in the world of wrestling where like anything's possible. And, Rey Mysterio is half the size of most of the people he's beaten, but like no one second guesses Rey Mysterio. Obviously Microman is a lot. So Microman is like the smallest human being I've ever seen. Like he is so small, but I'm such a fan. Like I remember, I think Ringo Loco once, like during, like after a GCW match, I remember him grabbing a mic. He had wrestled Microman. I think he straight up called Microman the best wrestler in the world. And that's coming from Ringo Loco, who like isn't going to just say that. You know what I mean? Like, so I got massive respect for Microman. I thought it was really cool, and I'm sure he made himself a lot of new fans on that show. Also, for what it's worth, if anyone was confused, not the same La Parca from WCW in there.
Not the same Beast Mortos.
That was, thank you for reminding me. I almost lost it. When he came out, when Taurus came out, I was so confused because I was like, wait a second. How is an AEW signed talent also in AAA? I was like, that would be the craziest, because I know he's a lawyer. That would be the craziest like swindling of contracts ever. If like you signed for one company as Mortos and signed for another company as Taurus, and like neither company was like, you were like able to like go back and forth without the other company like knowing. But they've somehow found some dude who looks exactly like Black Taurus, this new Taurus that they've got. So, but yeah, that was we've talked about that before, how confusing it can get. Like Mascara Dorada was an example I gave recently, where that was Grand Metalik for a while, but now it was a different guy before him. It's a different guy now. A lot of these gimmicks get like gifted, or I shouldn't say gifted, but like redistributed to other people who take those gimmicks on. There was a while that there was two La Parcas for years. There was LA Park and La Parca. The original La Parca became LA Park, and then the rights changed and all that. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. But that's I've enjoyed Triple Mania from start to finish, and I loved seeing the Omos and Microman stuff probably the most out of everything, and I liked seeing Omos get that win. So good stuff.
All right, so let's go to the indie spotlight.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
Alec Price and Jordan Oliver won the JCW, that's the Juggalo Championship Wrestling Tag Team Titles. They defeated the Brothers of Funstruction, Ruffo the Clown and Yabo the Clown. This is part of GCW, JCW 2-Day War, where, as kind of, it's in the title, this was GCW and JCW in a 2-day war.
When it was at the Gathering on the Juggalo. So this is a Juggalo crowd. The dynamic was a bit different than most GCW shows, although it was co-branded technically, where the crowd was like GCW talent were the heels throughout all the shows and the matches. So like it was a very pro JCW Juggalo Championship Wrestling crowd. That gets confusing because there's Jersey Championship Wrestling, which is also the sister company of GCW. Or GCW. Anyway. There was other surprises before I get into that, just worth noting. APA came out.
Yes, I saw that.
I was not expecting that. Like they came out to the old APA theme music, and they had on the APA t-shirts. The commentators were like talking about how they're always pounding ass, and I was like, that's hilarious because I remember that t-shirt from forever ago that went viral. And so it was cool seeing the APA. There was a surprise appearance by Cowboy James Storm in one of the matches. That was cool. I've always been a big fan of Cowboy James Storm. He's another one of those guys I got to watch a lot in Nashville when I lived there, and actually got to drink a couple beers with him in person before. So I got nothing but good things to say about the Cowboy James Storm. He is a bona fide Nashville legend as far as I'm concerned. You had Nick Nemeth appearing and then wrestling on the second. He appeared in the first show, wrestled on the second show. So there's a lot of like bigger names on these cards, and all of the bigger names were there representing JCW. They made sure that like all of them were on Team JCW. There's probably some other stuff that I'm missing too, but I might bring it up as I go along here if I remember. But the main thing I wanted to spotlight from these shows was on night one, as you mentioned, Alec Price and Jordan Oliver, who are the GCW Tag Team Champions, defeated the Brothers of Funstruction to win the JCW Championships. So Now they hold 2 sets of title belts. I think that, as I mentioned before, I think that Alec Price is one of the best in-ring wrestlers in the world right now. I'd put Jordan Oliver right up there with him too. Like, these two guys are killing it as a tag team right now. And it's just kind of wild how the circumstances brought them together, because this only happens. They might have had eventual plans of teaming Jordan with Alec maybe, but like it essentially only happened the way that it's played out because Cole got hurt. And, we had Cole Radrick and Alec Price, the garbage daddies. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I think YDNP, Price and Oliver, I think they're an incredible tag team, and I like them a lot together. And I like that they're having all this success. But I'm also like really, really interested to see what happens when Cole comes back. I think he's still a little ways out from being able to return. But when Cole comes back, he's still got the brass ring. And it just really gets my gears spinning, because it's like, if Cole were to come back, there's so many things they can do. Because like you can do the story of like, do you do like a trio of these guys where like Price, Oliver, and Cole are like, they just like all team together. You could totally do that. They're fan favorites. People would love it. You could do a story where Cole comes back and he screws Effie out of the GCW championship. He helped him win the title. Maybe Cole cashes in and he's an immediate heel. And now he's got this friction with Alec and Jordan, who are like, what the hell are you doing? Like, we're there's just so many things. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Like, as Alec Price and Jordan Oliver continue to have so much success, which I love seeing, it also constantly makes me think like, what's going to happen when Cole comes back? And I like that too, because obviously Cole's our boy. So, and so is Alec. And we never had Jordan. I would love to have Jordan Oliver on. Like, he's one of like my top people I'd want to interview. It just never happened. But we've had Alec on multiple times. We've had Cole on 1,000 times. So these are all dudes who I want to see succeed. They are like Price and Oliver are killing it. And like I said, I can't wait until Cole can eventually come back and kind of like get back in that mix.
Best wishes to Cole, as always, even though he wants to put me through a table.
He's the man.
Yeah, best wishes to Cole. Yeah, we love Cole. And yeah, Jordan and Alec are, you mentioned Alec might be like the best wrestler right now, one of, certainly. And like, he's definitely there. He's a guy that I'm glad he got the shot that he got at the GCW WWEID show. I know it was a short match, but
against the champion, Brad Baylor, or not Brad Baylor, Jackson Drake.
Yeah, Jackson Drake. I was gonna say Sean Legacy, but I knew that wasn't right. Yeah, Jackson Drake. Like, I'm glad he got that shot. Hopefully, eyes are on Alec and Jordan, and we see them in a top promotion sooner rather than later.
Well, Jordan was just in ROH. I mean, like last week or something.
Yeah. He who do he face? He faced it's gonna bug me now.
He wrestled Bandito?
Was it Bandito?
He wrestled someone really good.
Yeah, that's why it's gonna bug me, because I know he wrestled like one of kind of the top guys. It wasn't just like a random. He wrestled Hechicero.
Oh, that was
Hechicero.
It. Yeah, easy mix up there.
And Hechicero is about to challenge for the ROH title as well. So yeah, I knew it was like one of the guys who have been featured fairly regularly. So yeah, hopefully we see Jordan and Alec in a top promotion sooner rather than later. Yes. GCW Homecoming.
Oh, sorry, weekend. really quick for the Juggalo shows. Just really quick, want to give a shout out to all my Juggalos, Juggalettes. Whoop whoop. Superhuman did make an appearance at the show. He hit Janela they did like a battle royal, and the last two were Superhuman and Janela, and he did his whole fuck that shit thing and did like an elbow through a door, and the crowd went pretty nuts for it. And then Janela eliminated him to win the match, but wanted to give a quick shout out there. And also, there was a match during night one. Atticus Kogar, Christian Napier, and Otis Kogar versus Flo Kane, which is for people who may not be aware, Cocaine, who is a Kane spinoff, but like, as you would imagine, incorporates cocaine into his matches and his gimmick and everything. Luigi Primo, who's the guy who occasionally goes viral because he like tosses pizza dough throughout the match. and then Stephen Flo, who I've only seen a few times. But have you seen Stephen Flo?
Yes.
His whole thing is like he comes out
to
looking like he's from the 90s, and it's
grunge
even
rocker.
Yes, he's looking like a grunge rocker, but he comes out and his theme song is Even Flow by Pearl Jam, but all the lyrics are just Stephen Flo, Stephen Flo, Stephen Flo, Stephen Flo, and it's just but like the crowd eats it up. So the reason I'm bringing that up is because you even had matches like this on the show where like Cocaine, Stephen Flo, Luigi Primo, not going to be for everybody, but like that's such a random. Like the Kogars want to kill people. Like they're like stabbing people in the head every show, and they're going against like 3 memes. You know what I mean? So just throwing that out there for people who want to check the show out. You get a real mix of everything.
All right, GCW Homecoming this weekend. We're not going to go through every single match because I think they're going to keep announcing matches as well. But kind of the 2 matches that I think are the biggest matches on the card. Shotzi against Matt Cardona for the Garage Beer Championship, and Effie versus KJ Orso for the GCW World Title. Do you think we see a title change here? And then who do you have in Shotzi and Cardona?
I don't know. I mean, like storyline wise, Shotzi would make the most sense because she's, you know, like if ultimately like the good guy's going to overcome the bad guy type thing. Like I don't know if they're going to keep having matches with one another, but I'm going to assume Shotzi wins. Although like obviously I'm all for, like I'm a huge Cardona fan, so like that could go either way. It wouldn't bother me. Either way would make sense. The GCW World Title match between Effie and KJ Orso. I'm really interested in this, and hopefully we can get KJ on the show soon, whether he wins or loses, because I've been very, very entertained by his change since losing the mask. People might not know, KJ Orso is the former Fuego del Sol, and he was defeated by Atticus Kogar this is months ago now, but he lost his mask to him, and then wound up turning heel, which was like really surprising to me. Like I didn't expect it, and he's become a really, really, really good heel. He's changed up pretty much everything about himself. Wears like suits and does these like methodical promos and stuff, but he's always been an incredible in-ring wrestler, and that hasn't changed. So I'm really interested. Like obviously I'm a big Effie fan. I've been a supporter of him for years and years. He was another one of those sub-graps guys I used to watch in the Basement East years ago. Like I got nothing but love for Effie, got nothing but respect for Effie. I think Effie has had a great GCW World Title run. Like he's defended the title a whole bunch. He's a great representative of the company. I don't think he's going to lose the title here, but like I'm not at all against KJ Orso. Like I was essentially advocating for KJ to beat Masha Slamovich for the JCW World Title, the Jersey Championship Wrestling World Title, like a couple months ago. And y'all know how big of a fan of Masha Slamovich I am, but just the gimmick change and everything, I felt like it was just like the right time to go with KJ. You know, I see both sides of the idea for this. Like you could have KJ win. Either way, the match that's coming up for him, the bigger match, is like his ongoing feud with Sam Stackhouse. So it's really going to be up to GCW as far as like, do you want the title involved in KJ Orso versus Sam Stackhouse, which I would be in favor for. Like I'm not against that at all. And these guys have had a blood feud that's, you know, it's gotten gruesome, and they have a lot of history with one another. So like having the title in the mix for that could be really, really interesting, but it's also the kind of story that doesn't need the title involved. Like there's enough there without it. So I'm going to say that Effie retains, but like, I do think that whether it's in GCW or JCW, when KJ Orso is finished with his feud with Stackhouse, KJ's got to be involved in something big or get the title afterwards, or like I just feel like there's too much talent there, and he's done such great work that I if he's going to be in GCW on a consistent basis, which he has been, I just think you gotta like keep him with like a big push personally. But yeah, I'm going to take Effie as my official prediction though to retain.
I'll go KJ Orso. Why not? Let's do something different. Let's mix it up. Let's go with KJ Orso. He's been on a good run as a heel, since unmasking and turning on Stackhouse. He's been doing good stuff. Let's go with him. And then I do think Shotzi beats Matt Cardona.
I could see a scenario where like Stackhouse comes out and like prevents KJ from winning too. So we'll see. Either way, that's for sure. Like that's still ongoing. The last time they wrestled was like a death match. It was an I Quit match. That got really bloody and violent and only ended because KJ was gonna hurt Stackhouse's. I think it was either his mom or his girlfriend. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
it was his girlfriend. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't his mom.
I don't know. It could have been his mom. I can't remember. I legitimately can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was like his significant other, whether his girlfriend,
his wife or whatever. That was probably. I think that was it. I've watched a lot of wrestling since that match, so I can't remember exactly. But I do remember Stackhouse wouldn't give up. He was tied. He was like handcuffed to the ropes. He had a gusset plate that had been like put in his chest, and then the gusset plate got punched into his head, and then whoever it was, whether it was his wife or whoever, like came out to try to stop it, and then KJ threatened to hurt her. So Stackhouse gave up, and then I think KJ curb stomped her anyway.
Yeah, he did it anyway. Yeah.
So yeah. Eventually, Stackhouse will get his revenge. And I also don't see them putting the GCW World Title on Stackhouse right now. So like that's another reason I don't think Orso will win. But I like both guys, obviously. So it'd be cool to see them feud over the title. But yeah, I'll take Effie.
All right, folks, we're gonna get out of here. GCW Homecoming this weekend. A lot of wrestling this weekend. SmackDown's on early. As I said, GCW Homecoming. We got NXT Heatwave, which we didn't even talk about on the show because no one cares about NXT Heatwave. We've got Forbidden Door coming up as well. Collision, which is a taped show. That's on Saturday. But plenty of wrestling all weekend for everybody. Jensen, let them know where they can find you at.
Find me on X at @FightTalk_. Use code FightTalk and IndependentWrestling.tv. And listen to The Weekender. Pretty much on Monday nights now is when those are being uploaded around the time that Raw starts. So keep a lookout for that over on FightfulSelect.com. Occasionally, I'll still do those on Sundays, depending on the schedule, but keep looking out for those on Mondays. Cover the world of independent professional wrestling. I deep dive onto all the GCW stuff. I pretty much go through. For people who've never listened to the show, I essentially watch anywhere between usually 6 to 10 indie shows throughout the week, and I'll give you all the matches, the finishes to every match, and I'll give you my thoughts on the bigger stuff. And then on top of that, depending on the week, I'll do predictions for shows. Sometimes I'll even throw in little interview clips and stuff. But if you're a fan of independent professional wrestling, I would highly recommend checking out the Weekender podcast over on FightfulSelect.com, and those are uploaded on Monday evenings. So that's everything I've got. Skull Vikings. Looking forward to more Vikings news. Hopefully by the next time we talk, there's been another big Vikings trade. Hopefully Adam Thielen's a Viking again by the next time I talk to you. I'd love to see that.
Jensen will have a celebration that is only topped by the Cody Rhodes celebration if Adam Thielen returns to the Vikings.
Yeah, literally the only thing that could top that Viking or to top the Cody Rhodes moment is going to be if the Vikings ever won the Super Bowl. That's the only. I'm grateful that I got it with Cody. It took over 20 years of knowing about him and seeing his progression for me to get that moment, and it was totally worth it, and I loved every second of it. I've been a Vikings fan even longer than I've known of Cody's existence, and I have gone through way worse with the Vikings over the years than I ever have with Cody. So it'll be a different type of thing because I used to watch the Vikings games with my grandpa when he was still alive, and my dad's getting up there in age, and I really hope it happens soon, so at least my dad can hopefully see it. So there's going to be it's a very emotional thing that ties in with my family a lot. So if the Vikings actually win the Super Bowl, that's really the only thing that could top the Cody thing for me. So hopefully it happens, but there's a whole bunch of teams in the NFL, and the Vikings have never won the Super Bowl, so I can't really count on it.
I hope it happens for you one day. We all deserve to see our favorite team win a championship. So, All right, folks. We'll be back next week with a new episode talking everything that's happened this past week in wrestling, everything that's coming up in the world of wrestling. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Myself and Joel talking, I don't know, probably TNA or something, unfortunately. We'll preview the weekend as well, talk about all the news, all that fun stuff. Until then, everybody, we'll talk to y'all later on. Take care, everyone.